Here we go. All right, there we go. So we're on. Hey, Mike.
Hey,
How are you?
living the dream.
Hey, Dare. Hey.
What is that? What is that these days?
Hey, Rich.
Well, it's growing up in a
Paying your
middle class family
Paying your bills?
and taking care of your lawn.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
Neither is the guy behind me.
Well, I don't know what to tell you on that one, Mike.
It's not. Doesn't make enough money on that property to spend
guess
any
not.
time on it. That's what he says.
What does he rent them out?
I never see anybody go there.
No.
So who knows? I think that's the idea.
But
You
don't know.
I told him, I said, if you're not making any money, sell it. I said, I know, buddy. I know somebody would probably buy it or would want to buy it.
Teach their own.
Yeah.
That's the tough part about having neighbors. Everybody looks at their property different.
Well, everybody around there, their lawns are mowed. You know what I mean? They
Not that one.
Not that one. At least they take care of it and stuff like that. You know?
Let's get some goats. Let's put some goats over there.
You know what? That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
However, you can't where I'm at. You have to have at least, I think it's 3/4 of an acre per
For
goat.
one. Right.
Per goat. Yeah.
We just rent a goat. You know what I mean? They don't stay there. They just
For a
eat the
week,
gra-
right?
They eat the grass.
But there'd be more goat poop than pick up than
That's right.
Goats will eat anything.
Yeah, go see Wendy.
they'll eat their own poop.
Goats,
They'll eat
goats,
anything.
poison
Yeah.
ivy, everything. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's companies now that,
Rent 'em.
they rent them because, especially in Connecticut, down along the shoreline, obviously nobody thinks that like Roundup's like a great thing. You should never really. I think the stuff should be banned.
Yeah.
But especially as you get closer to the water, they're super particular. So when they're trying to kill invasive species, they'll bring in goats to eat like the vegetation. I was thinking about getting some for my house because we have the Japanese barberry.
Barberries.
Barberry.
Yeah.
And the stuff, there's just a huge patch of it in the front woods of my house. And somebody said, get some goats and they'll plow through it. They'll eat it right down to the root and they'll kill it.
A lot of solar fields, they use sheep.
Yeah.
Put sheep in the solar fields and let them. That's how they keep the grass mowed down.
Yeah,
in the
it's
solar
good.
fields.
I mean, you're going
Up
to,
north, you see it all over the place.
yeah,
They got sheep
makes
in-
sense.
Yep.
Compromise.
So, what's going on with mortgage rates? First of all, let's talk about who you are. Mike Mish, you are with
One Trust Home Loans.
One Trust Home Loans.
Yep.
And are you a mortgage consultant, mortgage broker? What are you?
I'm a mortgage lender. So,
Okay.
you basically have, in the mortgage business, there's really two models. Well, there's three models. There's the bank model, Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank, Jewett City Savings Bank. Like when I worked at Eastern.
Yep.
That's a model, a depository bank lender. Then there's a non-depository lender, which is what I have at One Trust where I work. So basically, still doing loans, but underwriting, processing, closing everything in the name of One Trust or other companies, that might be out there, Loan Depot, other big national lenders. Quicken, Rocket, those type of places, Fairway, anything along that model. And so they're a non-depository bank, but they still, will transfer loans. They'll service some loans. Some loans they'll sell directly to Fannie or Freddie or Ginnie.
Jenny, who the hell is she?
Ginnie Mae.
I didn't know. I never even heard
There's
of
Fannie
Ginnie
Mae, there's Freddie Mac, there's Ginnie Mae. It depends on the type of loan. So generally conventional loans with like sub-servicing and all, it's all convoluted. So obviously it's all convoluted to, make it more difficult.
Okay.
That's what the government
So
does.
it really just depends what kind of loan,
And then there's a mortgage broker,
Okay.
that brokers in between lenders, like a wholesaler or other lenders. Some of those big national companies that are, non-depository lenders, they will also have a wholesale division where they'll work with brokers. So it's,
Got it.
it's just the model. And people always say, oh, the bank model's better, the lender model's better, the broker model's better. I've always said, the model that best serves your customer base is the model that's the best. So a broker can be more beneficial in other parts of the country. In some parts of the country, small banks are better, mortgage lenders are better. It's really the person,
Right.
that you're working with, which to me is like what I do. I mean, the
Well, I think
product.
that makes sense because I don't think not everybody is the same. Everybody has
Everybody's
needs,
different.
right?
Yeah, different states, and you know, people say, well, what do you
find credit unions to be
Microphone.
sometimes do you find credit unions sometimes to be better than working with banks?
Sometimes credit unions, the way that they're set up, can have certain products that can be better for the right situation. There's no one size fits all.
Right.
So sometimes a home equity line of credit might be better.
Mhm.
There
that
might
was
be
my next conversation was
Yeah.
that.
shorter term mortgages, a 5-year fixed or a 7-year that somebody wants to get it paid off sooner. Sometimes the credit unions can do that type of stuff. The problem that you run into with some of those when you're working with somebody, and this is from somebody that worked in the lending side of it, but also worked for a local bank. We kind of did the best of both together when I was at Eastern, is when you go to a bank or a credit union, a lot of times you have somebody that's working a Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. And that's great if you're refinancing, but if you're purchasing and you need something at night or on a weekend,
Mhm.
you're not going to get that person. So it all depends on, your particular situation, the market that you're in,
Right.
the products
So
that
do
you're
you
looking
do HELOCs?
for. No, generally the only places that'll I can do HELOCs.
And that's the first time when you said that in the parking lot outside. That's the first time I'd ever even heard that term.
Yeah.
It's good for
I know what it means now, but I didn't
so
never even
the
heard of
back
it.
end of it is I've talked to a couple of real estate agents, a couple of different banks about a HELOC, and it works out well because we're thinking about buying another home, and with my house being paid off,
Yep.
using that money to buy that home, and it essentially makes you a cash buyer.
Yeah.
Which you don't have to. If Daryl's in the running on a house and I'm in the running on a house, and I go to you and say, "Hey, I got cash," you don't have to wait for him to get a mortgage, and it's a big difference in the real estate world.
Did any of the people that you talked to at the banks tell you that it's going to be virtually impossible to get a first position equity line of credit?
I don't even know what first position.
So when you do a mortgage,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You have a mortgage secured to your property.
Mhm.
That mortgage is the first position.
Okay.
All right. Any junior liens would be second, third, fourth position,
Gotcha.
things like that. A bank or a credit union that is doing a home equity line of credit will almost never allow that line of credit to be in the first position.
I don't have any other position yet. That's
Exactly. So that's a problem that
No, it's
you'll.
not. I got two local banks, one bank and one credit union. The bank that I dealt with already was all set to go. But when I found out a couple of fine details of things in their appraiser that they use, it's like, yeah, see you later. So I'm doing it through my credit union right now, and everything's rolling along smoothly. There's none of that ever.
So that's why you asked the question of the credit union
Has not
versus
been
the
mentioned.
bank, right?
No, neither one. Well, the bank, it was all about what they charge, like on a HELOC. If you close that HELOC within 36 months, usually there's a
Early
a
penalty.
fee,
Yeah.
So the bank was 1%. I'm like, Jesus, that's a lot of money if I don't use it. I mean, if I had $240,000 sitting there, it's $2,400. Whereas the credit union I'm dealing with is a flat $400. That's it. So there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
And the bank only used a drive-by appraisal, which I thought was kind of crappy. The credit union is using a full appraisal. I've got an appointment with a guy Wednesday morning to come to my house and walk through it all.
Yeah.
And because there's so much shit that got missed on the drive-by that my appraisal was $80,000 less than Zillow had the house listed at. I mean, it's
Did
nuts.
they do a full approval?
They were
Underwriting?
going to,
No,
but
full
not
underwriting
at
approval?
not at the money. Listen, they appraised my house at what my 80% should have been for the HELOC.
Right.
I mean, they were that far off
Yeah.
because of a drive-by, appraisal.
Yeah.
I mean, she missed stuff on the outside of the house, like the central air conditioning, the whole house generator, things of that nature. And it's like, wow, somebody needs to go back to school.
I mean, that's great. You should let me know. I mean, you can tell me off air who it is
Sure.
because I get people all the time.
Mhm.
And when I was at Eastern, we wouldn't do first equity lines of credit.
Really?
And most of the banks and credit unions I know of around here
Mhm.
wouldn't do them either.
And I think the stipulation is if you have the HELOC, I don't think you're allowed to get another loan against your property. I think I read something like that in somewhere in the paperwork.
Yeah.
They don't want, I don't know whatever. I mean, because you're pretty much maxed out at what the house is worth at that point, I guess.
Yeah. Depends on what loan to value you take it out to.
Yeah. Well, they only do 80-20.
Right. Right, but what I'm saying is you could take
Yeah, you can go something else with
40%.
20%.
You could go 40%.
You can change it. Yeah.
You can go as less as you want.
Mm-hmm.
They max it at 80%.
Correct.
So yeah, no, that's good. That's the way to do it. That's like
Yeah, no, I'll tell you about it after.
Yeah.
Tell us about it after.
Yeah. No, I'm not out to bash anybody. It's their rules. They're fine, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank, Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank is our presenting sponsor for Woodstock Academy traveling to Griswold Friday night. So Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank is in on that. Big game. Big game. Have you heard any of the news about the games over the weekend?
cable.
No.
on TV.
I don't think you need it.
No, not for local games. Oh, there was fights, stabbings.
Oh,
Yeah, that's crazy.
for high school sports.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, there was. They're actually replaying. Well, I don't think
What game?
it's the New London Thames River co-op game.
What's the Thames River Co-op?
So Thames River is a collective of tech schools.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like Griswold Wheeler is
Right.
a co-op,
Yeah.
which is the last year, by the way. Griswold Wheeler is not going to be co-oping after this year, but yeah. So it was that game.
People take that
Yeah, I wanna-
seriously, guess, huh?
I want to. What I want to do is
I don't even watch pro sports of any kind anymore.
No, the New London TRC game is actually going to get started again today at 5:15 at Grasso Tech, because that is actually where the Thames River, that's their home field, so to speak. So
So there was a fight at that game, and they're going to redo it.
they're going to start it at, I believe, at halftime.
At
They
a
should just
different
cancel
location.
it. It should just be canceled. They should be like, you guys can't control yourselves.
It's not the kids;
It's the parents.
it's the parents.
Oh my
The
God.
parents are.
Oh my
Parents
God.
and the fans.
Oh my lord!
Yeah.
Well, it's like when you see little league games and you see like a parent like punch an umpire. You know, what I mean? It's
No,
like,
right? It's
really?
like, come on, it's
Yeah.
Little League. Jesus.
yeah.
You're supposed to be
Sports are
adults.
great.
I mean, come on.
But sometimes, obviously, I have young kids, but parents take it pretty serious. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
It's like
yeah.
the likelihood that your 8-year-old is going to make it from T-ball to the major leagues, and if
it's
that's
very-
what you're
It's very,
banking on,
very small.
is, pretty sad.
There's not going to be any scouts at the T-ball.
It's
game.
like 0 point something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
There's no scouts there.
so there are a couple of issues. I'm trying to bring a couple of things up here, so you can see some postings.
You would think that would be on
From-
like WFSB or some other news source,
Good thing.
and there hasn't been anything.
I think they like to keep some of this stuff quiet.
No.
Well, I
You
think
wouldn't think.
for the reason that they don't want to publicize
Say, well,
this
escalate it
too
some more.
much. So, like, here's this is I just put up a press release from Norwich Police from the NFA game. And it said, in the waning seconds of tonight's thrilling 33-32 victory over Fairfield, Norwich Police alerted to the staff to a threat on social media. They got the FBI involved
Holy crap!
in this. Yeah. In an overabundance of caution at the advice of the Norwich Police Department, they cleared the students from the bleachers and both teams left the field right as the buzzer sounded. So it was like, Attica. It was like,
Mhm.
get off the field. Man.
What was the threat there? Somebody from
What they said is that it was a student from another Norwich school. However, they didn't give the name that this arrested person is because they're minor. So there's a lot of these things called swatting
Yep.
going on.
Mm.
Fake.
Oh yeah.
That was from
Fake
years
things.
ago, though.
people got killed.
They're doing it now.
People still do it.
That was like 2012.
Here's a post on social media. Damn shame
People have been
can't.
killed for that. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there was like some kid online that. Yeah, I remember that.
Here's a parent says, "Damn shame can't even go to a New London High School Whalers first home game and enjoy it. It was called at halftime due to all the fights going on. I go to support my football player grandson and cheerleader granddaughter. These kids work hard all week practicing. Blah 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 blah." And it's basically stay home if you can't get there in a positive way.
Yeah.
So what they're doing today is they're actually going to go ahead and start this game again at halftime. And just continue on with no fans.
Oh, really?
Right. And I think that is a great idea because that's like saying, so if you guys really want to do this, or
Want to behave like kids, you get treated like
Yeah.
kids, right?
Yeah.
you're not going to go to the games.
I mean,
Exactly.
No one's going to go to the
Yeah,
games.
Yeah.
You're not
That's a
punishing
symptom of a
kids.
larger societal issue, which is just a clear throughout all age groups.
Yeah.
Just a lack of respect nowadays.
Yeah. There was a guy at
True.
an Atlanta Falcons game who was literally fighting this guy and stomping his head into the concrete floor. He almost killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, for what?
Yeah.
Right.
Have fun in jail. Was it worth it?
What did that guy do to you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Pissed him off because it didn't cheer for the same team.
I mean,
Maybe.
people are willing to do that over sports, politics. I mean, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's nuts out there.
Right. Your political thing's just starting, yeah.
Yeah, you can't. A lot of people can't debate.
No.
They can't have a conversation. They can't differ on ideas in any way, shape, or form. Everything immediately goes to emotions.
Mhm.
And when you have kids that were brought up 10, 15, 20 years ago,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
that can't deal with emotions, when they become adults and they can't deal with emotions,
Well, to bring it up,
that's how they were.
who knew
Solid.
about that rolling Patriots rally or whatever it was? that happened
Rolling
on-
Thunder or something.
Yeah, it was the first time I heard about it. I'm at home and I'm like, what is going on
Somebody
on Main
mentioned it to me,
Street?
and I never heard nothing about it.
Yeah, and it was just like a bunch of guys in big trucks and flags and everything just going down the road. And I'm like, did anybody else know about this? It was like their own little parade.
When was that?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Pro-Trump?
No, it's for real patriots.
Oh.
So
New England
whatever you
Patriots.
think it's for.
Oh. That's one thing I don't understand. We're patriots. Well,
I was.
if you
watching
love
the
America,
Patriots.
aren't you all patriots? Just
Yeah.
different shapes and sizes and belief systems?
I don't know.
If you believe in America, there's a lot of people that live in America that don't.
Yeah, well,
if
they
you're,
can leave,
if you're a
but I
strong
mean-
left person, are you a patriot? You're going to fight for what you want, or you're going to run your mouth?
Well, I'm gonna run my mouth.
Patriots. Listen, you don't see too many militias that have the left in it, right? It's all the right. It's the patriots.
Yeah. So tell us about the mortgage rates that are falling.
So mortgage
And how long
rates-
has it been happening?
It started to slowly progress, and actually, with the line of credit that you're looking to do, those rates are dropping not because they're tied to mortgage
Prime went
rates.
down.
They're dropping
Yep.
because they're tied to prime, which is tied to the Fed rate, and the Fed dropped at 50 basis points. So mortgage rates started to drop before that because they telegraphed that move, months in advance. They said, we're going to, as long as everything lines up, and as you got up 3 weeks, 4 weeks before that, we're going to drop it 25 to 50 basis points. That doesn't directly correlate to a drop in 50 basis points or a 0.5% in fixed mortgage rates. What that does is banks and lenders, credit unions, anybody that borrows money from the Fed, which is all of them and all financial institutions, now have a 50 basis point drop in their borrowing costs when they're borrowing money from the Fed. Okay. And then they take that money and they lend it back out. So look at it from the perspective, like if you were a business that was selling a product and one of the raw materials for that product went down in price, your overall cost to produce that product would be less.
Yes.
Now, sometimes all of that cost gets passed on to the consumer. Sometimes it doesn't. In the mortgage business, not necessarily that all of that cost gets passed on to the consumer because of the fact that mortgage companies and banks and lenders and the overall system
Sure.
has been running in most cases at a loss for the last couple of years. Like most companies are originating a loan, and each loan they barely break even after they pay all the expenses, or they lose money for every loan written. Now they can do that because they made good money in 2020 and 2021. But I mean, I look at, that type of stuff when you're looking at costs, and, have conversations with the higher ups at my company. 30 to 40% of those costs are tied into government regulation. I mean, so that's a huge percentage of it. But basically that lowers the lender's borrowing costs. The overall mortgage rates started to drop because the big thing that's pushing down is we're seeing that inflation, whether you believe it or not. They're telling us inflation is dropping or getting closer to that 2% range year over year.
See what happens with that inflation rate when minimum wage goes to $16.35
Right.
on January 1st.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It goes the
mortgage
price of a
rates are
cup of
based
coffee,
off, right? Mortgage rates are based off of the sale of mortgage-backed securities, where they're pooled together and packaged as a security.
Mhm.
Inflation makes the value of those assets less because it's a fixed asset. When inflation looks like it's getting lower, that's good for 30-year fixed-term assets like mortgage-backed securities. What they don't tell you is year over year, it's getting closer to 2%, but year over year, when you look at things going back 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, milk, eggs, bread, whatever you want to look at has gone up 2% from this time last year. But from 3 or 4 years ago, it might be up 15 or 20%. So
I think even higher.
yeah, I mean, so those costs are,
Yeah, I was at Aldi last night.
yeah.
Aldi's of all places.
Yeah,
right?
when you say Aldi's and you're like,
A dozen eggs is $3.60.
yeah.
A couple months ago, it was like $1.80 or $1.75.
Yeah.
So
They were down below $1.
Yeah. Oh, these. I know, right? But
That did the
recently,
last year.
a good price for them was in the $1.50, $1.75 range.
Right,
and
right.
It was $3.60 last night.
Yeah. I just go to the farm now.
I do too.
Why bother?
No, I'll pay
You're paying the same price.
$12 for 18.
Yep.
Done.
We have chickens.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I try to buy as little stuff as I can from the store.
So
Yeah.
when are the interest rates of the houses going to be dropping down, do you think?
They've started to slowly. So the good thing is with interest rates dropping, they've started to drop slowly, and they started 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. About a month ago or so, earlier in September, they really started to pick up. So now refinancing is becoming more popular.
Mhm. So do you think they've gone down enough to benefit somebody who's going to refinance? Or
Oh, absolutely. Because there was times where, in the last year or two, not steadily, but you had times where people were still buying and rates were in the 7 to 7.5 or high sevens, or even with some lenders, they were close to 8%. So now if the average rate is getting down into the low sixes or high fives, depending on, the term and your credit and down payment and equity and all that different stuff, then absolutely that can make sense to refinance depending on, what your plan is for the house for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5. You have to look short and long term to see. I think rates will continue to probably drop a little bit lower, coincidentally, right up until around or after the election. I think we'll probably typical. We'll probably start to see. I think by the spring of next year, if the economy looks like it's starting to really hit the brakes and headed towards a recession, that's actually good for mortgage rates, and you'll probably see them get into the low to mid fives, I think. If it looks like we're going to have that true soft landing and employment stays okay and inflation still comes down and all those things they're telling us, I think they probably settle in the mid to high fives. And that is really, even a couple of years ago, I had always had conversations with people and said, when they talk about the lockup in the real estate market, where people that bought and refinanced in 2020 to 2022 and got those really low rates, the 3.5%, 4% fixed on a 30-year, they've actually done, surveys and things, and they found that, 5 to 5.5% interest rates are where people that have a 3 or a 3.5 or a 4 will go. I don't want to lose that low rate, but if the house doesn't work for me anymore or I need to move, I'm willing to.
Gotcha.
Once they get up above that, into that 6 range, people lock up and they go, there's no way I'm getting rid of this mortgage. There's nothing you can do to make me. So what that will also do is it'll make things more affordable from a rate perspective, and it'll also free up housing. And when I say free up housing, it's not the magic pill that's going to make it, but it's going to help it get back to a more normalized market where you don't have 15 offers on a house. So
if somebody's out looking to buy,
why don't you hold your question for 1 second? We're going to take a quick break and tell some people about our supporters here at SNS. I can't even say it, please. Help me. SNSN.
NSNS.
Aye. We'll be back in a minute. Because I know I have a couple of questions. And I don't know if nobody has even said hi this morning. So whatever. Be back in a minute right here on SNSN.
Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
School's back in session and it's time for a pop quiz. True or false? Insurance coverage is all the same and it doesn't matter where you buy it. False. True or false? The best kind of insurance is the cheapest you can find. False. True or false? Working with a local agent can help you navigate all your specific coverage needs while finding a competitive price for free. True. Don't let yourself fail when it comes to your insurance. Call, email, chat us online today. Our qualified staff can walk you through the process, find the coverage that's right for you, and the discounts you qualify for. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Better. Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
Has arrived. They're your local auto super center. Put some excitement in your day and rent a Polaris Slingshot from Strain Family Motors, adjacent to the Green Onion Restaurant on River Road. Check out Strain Family Motors Super Center on Facebook as well as strainfamilymotors.com for everything sales, service, and excitement. River Road, Lisbon, Strain Family Motors, your local auto super center.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah, 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they gonna know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Dentist. In a word, yes. Especially if that dentist is Dr. Katzoff and the staff at Griswold Dental Associates. They follow all the latest safety protocols while doing what they do best, taking care of you. From preventive to restorative, your dental care couldn't be in better hands. To schedule your appointment, call Griswold Dental Associates today, 860-376-2626. That's 860-376-2626.
And we're back. Thank you very much for hanging with us, guys. Those are some of our sponsors that we have here, and that allows us to bring quality people like Mike Mish.
Oh, thanks.
You made the A list.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah. So,
Just a kid from Baltic, grew up in a middle class family. We took care of our lawn.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, not everybody on Ashland Street does.
Did you work at McDonald's?
No, never did any of that.
Oh, Melissa's birthday today.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Melissa.
probably working now.
She's not just 50 anymore. She's in her 50s now.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's over.
Now she's pissed that you just brought that up on.
Yeah.
I said it to her face to face this morning before I left.
That doesn't make it right.
No.
She doesn't look a day past 30, though.
I sang her happy birthday.
My wife turned 40 this year for the second year, and will be 40 for the rest of her life.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How many years has she been 40, Mike?
This is her second year.
Be careful.
Nice. There you go. Yeah.
She looks like she's 25.
Yeah, we'll see. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. There's got to be
Love
more.
of my life.
Racking up them points.
Yeah. Soulmate.
Yeah, whole thing. Look at him gleaming. Look at him. If he was a woman, you'd think he's pregnant. You know? He's just glowing. You know?
Hey, I married up, you know?
Yeah. I
She's
didn't
out
know
of my
more.
league.
What does she do? Does she
She
just
has a
have
horse
career?
farm.
Oh, okay. In
Yep.
Canterbury?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cub Hunt Farms. So she does English hunter jumper, riding lessons for, girls, adults. She boards horses.
My daughter has 2 horses and she rides English.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
But
there's
right
places
now,
around the
2
door.
of them are boarded though. Maybe you got a horse named Banner right now?
No, I don't think. I think she has it right now. And then we at the house that we built a barn with stables for her to have the business. And
Do you have any minis over there?
no, I want a mini. I want a mini
Chelsea
horse.
has a mini.
I want a mini horse. I want some cows, some chickens.
You want a little Highland cow?
I just want to be, animals and have my kids around.
Where the
that
dog
stuff.
is actually bigger than the cow?
Yeah, goats, sheep, chicken, whatever.
There's a farm in Ledyard that raises the Highland cows. They'll never call you back. Great business model.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have some Highland cows there.
You're starting to see a resurgence of that now more. Like
What,
we were just
Highland
talking
cows?
about well, no, I think just people with having animals, chickens, pigs,
Yeah.
goats,
So with Highland cows, is that how you get sliders?
I was just gonna say that. I'm not even kidding you. Oh my god! It was on the tip of my tongue. I was right about to get in there. We had no idea what we were gonna
wow.
say. That is messed up.
Yeah, it is.
You need to be on Psychic Thursday.
Oh, there you go. Get that turban out.
Oh my god! I'm not even kidding you. I was gonna say that exact phrase.
Yeah.
I
You're
must
a
have
little slow.
beamed it over
A
to
little
you.
slow. You gotta be fast.
Do our minds really work
Well,
like
probably
that?
because we have all the dad jokes.
That's
Oh
scary.
my god!
They're just there.
That's scary.
What do you think about it?
It's
A little
scary.
small cow, little burger, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Actually, they don't breed them for food.
What do you do with them?
They're just
have them?
pets.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're pets and they're cute, and you make memes out of them.
Oh,
What are they, like little mini cows?
Yeah, you've never seen a Highland cow?
Yeah.
Look it up.
The thing I always think of for cows is something like a steak on the plate.
Mm.
I buy a
No.
whole cow
Sizzling
once
on
a
the
year.
grill.
Yeah.
No, it's just
Yeah.
a little people have them. They run around the house.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they don't.
Why not? People have pigs for pets in their house.
Sure,
Right?
yeah.
I heard pigs are really clean.
Certain ones. My
They
buddy
say
of mine
they
from
are.
college we went to school in Massachusetts, but he was from Arizona.
Is he the pig?
He had a Vietnamese potbelly pig.
Okay,
Oh.
yeah.
Thing was massive. It
Yep.
used to go in the house. It was super clean.
But they have mini ones too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and they're litter box trained.
Yeah.
And they're smart.
And they're bacon.
And they're
Delicious.
Yeah.
Did he eat it?
PETA. People eating tasty animals.
Yep.
Yeah. You're bad. Did he eat the
No, that
potbelly
one was
pig?
that was a pet. The Vietnamese
Okay.
potbelly pigs, I guess, are super intelligent.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
They said if
I'm
you-
sure in a pinch you can eat anything. You know.
The dogs are eating the cats. They're
Yeah.
eating the dogs.
You know. Depends on the culture.
I
This
guess
is true. Chinese have been raising dogs for years to eat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a culture that I'm familiar with that eats a guinea pig.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. In
There
South
is.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I mean, in Mexico and in parts of Germany and France, horse meat is a delicacy.
It's
You used
even
to be able to
it's-
get it here years
get it,
ago.
yeah.
Back in the 70s when there was the beef shortage. There was a horse meat store. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had it. It's actually like venison. It's very lean
Yep.
and it was good.
It's kind of like Petco's going to be the next grocery store.
What do you got today? Bearded dragon.
Neutering gone wrong. A special.
We got beta fish for sale.
You just deep fry them suckers. You know, they just come out with little fish nuggets. And then ferrets, everybody's favorite. No bones.
Yep, no bones.
Just strip that sucker down and wrap it around a spigot.
Like a snake, right?
Yeah,
Have you
and
ever had snake?
isn't it most of the cultures along like the Andes Mountains in South America will have some form of like guinea pigs or
I don't
something
know.
that's part of their diet?
It is from what I learned, just really over the last couple of weeks.
Mm.
It is Ecuador. Ecuador is one.
I'll bet worldwide people have eaten literally everything.
Sure.
If you lived through
And
it
people-
and you liked it, you know what? You keep eating it, right? I don't know. I mean,
They've eaten people.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ask Uncle Bozy, right?
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. Trying to think of other, which has nothing to do with mortgage rates falling.
So,
Well, maybe it does.
You never know.
You
If
have-
it
you
gets
have-
too
you have-
high, you gotta make do.
right. So,
Otherwise,
do
you got to
think
eat.
that if somebody's looking to buy or refinance right now, that it's maybe worth the wait because it might come down a little bit lower.
You've started to see, I think right now. So I think a lot of people on the lending side are very busy right now. Like September, I think I probably had, I want to say like maybe 15, 16, 17 applications for refinances, which is more than I've had since rates started to go up in, 2022. You're always going to have some here or there, that people get divorced, people pass away, people, need to take money out to pay bills. For everybody has different circumstances. But I have, the real estate agents and the people within the industry that I work with, attorneys, realtors, anything like that, have said, I think right now, the last quarter of this year, depending on where rates go, depending on the election, you're starting to see where people are looking and saying, all right, well, house prices haven't come down. So lending is, the rates are starting to come down. So that's good. But if there's still not a lot of inventory, and especially in that 250 to 400 price range, which is considered like what most people are buying, that's a starter home.
Correct.
Yeah,
right.
It is. That's the stuff where people are saying, well, what, unless I need to, I'm moving into this area, I have to buy, which is what most people that I've worked with over the last couple of years, the people that have bought and done things are not doing it because they usually want to. It's they have to be, the place they were renting got sold. They're moving here to work for Electric Boat, or they got stationed here for the Navy or something along those. So they've had to find housing. Mm-hmm. If not, people are waiting. And it's, when people say, should I wait? You have to look at your own particular situation. But a lot of people, from what they've heard in the news, is rates are going down. The inventory hasn't quite gotten to the point where it's started to help normalize the market, which as rates go lower, you should see more inventory. But then on the flip side is that if rates go too low, we could see that frenzy come back in because there has been so much pent up demand that all the people that were waiting on the sidelines for the last couple of years and couldn't qualify when rates were at 7 or 7.5, now all of a sudden, if rates are 4.5 or 5, they can qualify. Now they're a new buyer back on the market. And what we've been dealing with low inventory and a lot of offers comes right back into fruition, because really what it boils down to is we don't build enough housing to affect the supply. We're not bringing
So if
housing.
rates go down, would you expect to see the price of the houses go up?
Possibly again, yeah.
So it still evens out.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
for the guy buying the house, the
Right.
payment still comes in the same.
And in that price range, I just had a friend that sold a house that he built as a spec build. He was a builder, and he built a spec house in Canterbury and sold it. And the reason why that price range is always going to be tight is that if you can't bring supply, if you can't bring new supply to the market with new construction of newly built homes,
Who can afford
which
to build?
generally start at $500,000 and
Yeah.
above
Yeah.
for a basic raised ranch.
Yeah.
on an acre or two in any of these general towns or higher, the closer you get to the water. If you can't build a house for 250 to 400,000 or 450, wherever you are, that's a limited supply. That is there's a cap on that supply of housing, and it's an older aging supply because it was stuff that was built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Well, when the price of, the cost of building a house in general goes up to, $300 a square foot
to start.
How do you deal with that? You can't get those affordable houses anymore when the cost of the lumberyard kills the guy building the house.
Well, once you build the house, you're already underwater.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I usually tell people now, depending on if you own the land or buy the land, and your finishes and the style of house.
A spec house is a gamble today, I'm sure.
Yeah. You're talking at
custom builds all day long. Guy comes in, hey, signs the paper. You're going to get your money. You put up a spec house. It could go in a week. It could take 6 months. You got a lot of money out there.
It's generally starting at 300 to 350 a square foot to build a house nowadays.
Jesus.
From there. So that's why when people say, why don't builders, buy land? Well, if a builder has to put millions of dollars out to buy land,
go buy
to subdivide
to
it,
put 20 houses
right.
Right.
And they say now you can only put 20 houses up. And the average road cost for a builder to put in, which all these towns now you have to put roads and sidewalks, is somewhere between $800 and $1,200 a foot. And you're going to shell out a couple $1 million up front, then you're going to want to make a profit on the backside of it.
You have to.
But there's guys doing it though. You go over through, Lisbon, out Sprague Way. I mean, there's guys out there clearing good sized lots. They're getting more than one house in there. I mean, But I guess they're guys with deep pockets, right?
Well, it probably depends if that
or
was,
they own the land,
or it was something that was somebody had and had broken into 2 or 3 building lots, and they don't have to put a road in. Maybe they can get road frontage, or it was a grandfathered in flag lot.
Yeah.
Those type of things are totally different than putting in a subdivision.
Laura said earlier, and I missed this comment, there's the lone comment today. It says the Norwich game was evacuated due to the threat was a shooting. It was a threat of a shooting. So I don't know.
Over a
crazy
high school football game.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's going to get to the point where they're not going to let anybody in at all.
Might as well shut it down at that point.
You're like COVID all over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I liked COVID.
I did too. That was like my most
Well,
profitable year.
I mean, you don't have to. You didn't have like it was okay to not. I'm kind of a homebody. I don't like big crowds, and I think it's because I have younger kids. Family, friends. That's one thing. We take them to the Big E. We take them to places and stuff. But I'm always. I don't know. I'm just always. It was different.
Driving on the highway was nice. There was nobody there.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't even the Big E. I didn't go to any fair. I haven't been to any of the fairs in years.
I went to Brooklyn this year.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you what, I don't think I'll ever go to the Big E or Woodstock again. I think they've lost their focus as to what a fair is.
Yeah.
It's all, selling stuff, selling crap, selling food, kids' rides. It's not, the Woodstock Fair still has a little bit of agricultural stuff to it, but the Brooklyn Fair beats them by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a hands down.
My kids
I
love
haven't been
Brooklyn.
in years, and it was like, wow, holy cow.
I don't like being shoulder to shoulder at the Woodstock Fair.
Oh my God. And you got to park a half a mile away. Or even last year, we did go to the Big E. We had to park I would say it was probably a good third of a mile down the road in somebody's backyard. They're renting out their backyards to park cars.
Sure.
Because
Why not?
You couldn't park on site. It was that full.
We went to Brooklyn this year on the Thursday night when it opened, and it was cool. It was like maybe 60 degrees.
We went
it wasn't busy.
Early afternoon was the best time to go.
Yeah.
All the stuff's there. They're doing things, and it's less people.
Yeah. I agree.
I just know that the thing that annoys me the most, and I can't get past this, is that by the time you've walked in there, if it's you and if it's 2 people, you spend $50 before you, as you step foot into the fair.
Was 12 or 13. I think it was 10 for seniors.
Yeah, but parking.
Oh, $7.
So. So 35 at least.
Yep.
That Big E was 50 because parking up there is 10 or 12, right?
It's
Big
wild.
E. We paid 15 off site. Yeah.
How much are the tickets to get into the Big E?
I want to say they were 20 for some reason.
I just don't pay attention. I just hand my card.
Yeah, I want to say it was.
I'm
20.
already here. There it is what
So
it
if
is.
it's just you and Cheryl,
Yeah.
All right, so 20, 40, $55.
Yeah.
And you haven't even walked in the door.
You haven't had a
Family
drink.
of four.
You haven't had a $4 bottle.
Forget
You haven't had a $4
Forget
bottle of
it.
water yet. Yeah.
It's like going to the movies now. I mean,
That's
we'll go to the Mystic theaters once in a while because with the kids, 'cause
Smaller.
It's smaller
Yeah,
and it's got the that. But I mean,
The one in Lisbon, we went down there. I think we went like midday on a Saturday, and I pulled the senior card on them. You know what? It was cheap. It wasn't much.
no.
No, it really wasn't.
No, matinees aren't too bad, but
Yeah,
But if you go on a like Mystic theaters, if you go down there and
Yeah.
and we don't
prime time you're gonna pay.
buy candy and that type of stuff in there just because it's not anything I want the
$25
kids to
for
have.
popcorn.
Yeah, you could
Just go to
spend
Dollar General before you go.
over $100.
50 cents worth of popcorn kernels in there.
that's gold. Don't drop that.
Well, bend me right over. Yep.
with the artificial butter.
I think you're going to see even they're even putting the sticks to the movie theaters even more because first run movies are now available to stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like $25.
Mhm.
But and I think that's only a rental.
It is a rental, but you have to think about it. You don't have to sit next to anybody.
Right.
You can bring your own food.
You probably pause it
And you can
go
pause
to
and
the
go to
bathroom,
the bathroom.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
And you could have 6 people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 people there
Oh, yeah.
if you want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we watched did you see do you like any of the animated movies? Well,
I don't usually
look at your
watch
arms. You like
Yeah,
animation.
yeah, right. I don't usually watch movies, but
No.
nah, not really.
So did you always did you watch Inside It Out? Inside Out at all?
No.
It's a DreamWorks movie, and Inside Out too. Oh my god!
Try to avoid anything with Hollywood. And,
I watched.
dude, I'm telling you,
What the hell do you do, Mike? I sell mortgages, and then I go back into the woods.
I
School plays.
no, I work. I
wasn't
raise
for-
my kids and I work on my property.
It
You
wasn't
know what I
for
mean?
his
I
kids,
go
he
out, I
wouldn't have
cut
a
wood.
TV, right?
He is the tin hat guy.
Yeah.
he is. Yep.
He
I
makes
cut
sliders.
wood. I take care of animals. I'm still
Walking
doing
with
stuff for my
a spaghetti
property.
strain around his
Yeah.
head. Yep.
We've learned I don't want to buy stuff in the store. I try to stay out of Hollywood.
I don't like crowds. My father.
Why
was
do you
like
not
that.
have a 6-foot beard? Is what I want to know.
I'm not Amish. But those guys were cool when they came up and they built the barn in our house, and
That's right. That's
And they
right.
are awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they took what 20 minutes and
Yeah.
it was done.
Yeah.
You ever seen that meme? Like, why didn't COVID affect the Amish? Because we don't have TVs.
True.
Wow.
You think about that, right?
The news.
You ever ride through Amish communities? It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
there
allowed
was
to.
7 of them that came up. That,
Yeah, no,
that
I've
put
been
up
down
I
through
mean, those-
Lancaster County and Pennsylvania and all that crap. I mean, it's all you hear is the horse and buggies going up and down the road all the time. You go by their
Yeah, how did they
farms,
get
their
there?
houses. You can
Yeah.
tell what's an Amish house because
How'd they
there's
get
no
to your
electric
house?
lines going.
They
to it.
drive?
They have one guy that drives that
They
was a
get a van,
Mennonite.
usually a van, right?
The rest of them don't. And the unique thing is they don't use electricity,
Right, that's right.
but they do use batteries. So now with all the tools that construction trades use, they don't plug. They'll put it on the charger. They don't plug the charger in,
Ah.
but the guy that drives or one of the Mennonites that work with them will plug it in.
Mm.
But once it's off the electrical grid, then they'll use the battery. So they're using drills and skill saws. They're not doing everything by hand like
Right.
they used to.
That's right.
And
Watch
growing
them out
up,
there-
you'd think
watch
that
them
they
out
were
there
little.
with that plow with the horse pulling it. And it's like, oh my God, I mean, little kids out there. I mean, listen, they all got their jobs. I mean, they all do. And they all wave when you go by. They're friendly people.
Most people, if like when I was growing up, and I wasn't just raised, normal, average,
Yeah.
middle class around here. I would have thought that those people were off their rocker.
They're not.
The older I get, the
They're not
more
off their
normal
rocker.
I think the Amish are,
Yeah,
and the world we live in is off its rocker.
sure.
All right. So getting back into mortgages and lending, Aaron would like to know, what do you think about the idea of taxing unrealized capital gains?
The idea that they put out politically, or because there's a couple different, like people hear it and they're like, that's a horrible idea, which I think I mean, you know my stance
Here
on
we
a lot
go.
of this stuff.
Here we go.
Taxes to me are evil from start to finish, from income tax to every other type of tax that we have. It's ridiculous. But this one, unrealized capital gains, if you take it at its worth, when people go, oh my God, you know, my grandmother's house, everybody's house is going to be taxed. If you look at what, not that I agree with the position of the Harris administration or anything like that, they're talking about unrealized capital gains on people that have a net worth over $100 million. So they're using that little nugget because the easy way to get people together is let's tax the rich. The rich, you know, we'll tax those people that have lots of money and us average people won't. But taxes always start with the wealthiest and the rich and trickle their way down to the normal people.
But if
average
you only
person.
got 75 million, you're
Doesn't
all right.
matter.
Yeah, you're
You
in
could.
poverty
How
with the
about
rest of
this?
us.
How about this? I had this conversation with somebody recently. You could tax every billionaire and every person that's worth over $100 million.
Yeah.
Okay, every person that's worth $100 million or more in the United States, you could tax them at 100% of their income, and it would balance the budget for, I think it was less than 2 years. We don't have a tax problem in this country; we have a spending problem.
Mm-hmm. That I've heard. Yeah, that is true.
And it's usually people spending other people's money. That's the problem.
Why are you glaring at me?
Because you're directly across from
You're
me,
like-
and you're wearing a red shirt. You know,
What's a red shirt got to do with it?
I'm like focused. So yeah, so
Here.
I don't think we should tax unrealized
Red's
gains.
his trigger color.
I don't think we
Triggers
should.
him. Yeah.
I don't think we should tax realized gains. I don't think we should have income tax.
Correct.
I think you should only be able to pay one tax, and that's it. There shouldn't be 3 different taxes under 3 different names for the same thing.
Mm.
You know, like if you're in business and you buy a product to sell the product, you buy the product, you pay the tax on it, then you sell the product and you pay a tax on it. That
If
Aaron agrees with you, by the way.
if somebody said your ideal tax strategy, what would it be? And I think most people, left or right, would agree that people that consume more should pay more in tax, right? That seems to be the most fair. So if that was the case, then we should have no tax of any kind except for a sales tax, because then the richest people would pay the most taxes because they're buying
the
the
most
most.
stuff. Yeah.
The problem that you have with that is that neither side, Republicans or Democrats, would ever pass that because it would affect the wealthiest people in this country
Sure.
more than the middle class.
Yep.
And their donors
It's like eating
to the
your own.
Republicans and the Democrats would never allow it to happen.
So much for thumbtacks.
Yep. That's,
Michael, thank you very much. Anything else you want to add today, or nah?
Ah,
All right. Rich, thanks for coming in on borrowed time. Last night found out midnight. Yep, I'm coming.
Like at 11:38. Yeah.
And you too, Daryl.
yeah, you know what else am I going to do?
That's right.
order
Yeah.
DoorDash.
DoorDash, yeah. The crankies would be nice.
They're not even,
Hand-
I don't think they're open today.
No.
It's Monday.
Well, I don't care about today. I mean, like during the week. You know, sometimes I get home and I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything.
You live in Jewett City?
Yeah, but
How
you're-
far away from Crankies do you live?
I could probably walk there and like
Probably. Probably. You can.
Why don't you just walk?
because I can have it delivered.
But it costs money.
So what?
Who does? Hey,
All right.
who does
I got
that
you.
sound like?
I got you.
Kathy.
Kathy.
Yep.
All right.
She'll have an ice cream sundae delivered to her house from Plainfield. For God's sakes, it's half melted by then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she'll DoorDash
She-
Taco
everything.
Bell from Norwich.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I don't
First
do
of
it.
all, the Taco Bell is horrible for
Oh, yeah.
you. Okay.
Oh, I know, but
awful.
it's so delicious.
They use all natural ingredients.
Oh,
Fresh off the farm in Canterbury. Yeah.
Exactly.
all natural Taco Bell.
I wasn't always like that either. I used to eat fast food up until, well, probably 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And then once you start to look at
I gotta-
health and all those different
Yeah,
things,
I got to tell you, me and a buddy of mine, we went down to West Virginia last week on Wednesday, and we came back Saturday. And, on the way back, you're on the road. We stopped. It was lunchtime. We hit Wendy's. Now, I always liked Wendy's.
Mhm.
I got to tell you what, I couldn't eat it all.
No,
I just couldn't.
no.
I can't even eat the places that you would think of as most the average person would think like, oh, I'm going to go to Chipotle. They cook everything in seed oils now. I mean, you start when
Seed oil?
seed oils
Seed.
like
Oh, I was like, how do you
instead
get
of
oil
thing.
from the
Yeah,
seed?
I mean, I again my tinfoil hat
Like-
stuff.
like sunflower seeds.
Yeah,
Oh,
stuff.
where they say like that's supposedly healthier than
Pumpkin
the
seeds.
stuff that they used to cook with. You know,
But the
McDonald's
food
used to cook
just
with beef tallow.
Wasn't as good.
No.
Yeah.
You were younger.
Is
you'd
corn
eat-
a seed?
You'd eat there every day.
It is kind of, isn't it? We call it maize. Yeah,
High
I mean,
fructose corn syrup.
all right, let's get the heck out of here. It's 10 o'clock. Bells of the Borough are around there. Mike, thanks a lot for giving us the info.
Thanks for having me in.
And Rich, thank you. And
Anytime.
Daryl, what